Senator Muir.
Thank you. Just initially, I'd just like to say I've been enjoying listening to the debate, and actually share some of the concerns which both the ALP and my colleague Senator Seward have been sharing, and I think that the debate's been very good at this stage. I've only got a few questions, and I do apologise if they have been asked in advance, because I haven't had a chance to really listen to every single bit of the debate. You'd have to forgive the cynic in me, but I do have concerns that the trial has been targeted at low socio-economic groups to guarantee success of the trial, to make it easier to justify expansion into the future. In the event that this trial is successful for this particular socio-economic, how or would the data be used to predict success for potential future implementation of this type of policy to socio-economic groups that do not match the trial group?
Minister.
Yes. Thanks, Senator, for the question. The trial site in Ceduna has been chosen because of the very high indicators of hospitalisation and other abuses, and I'm just flicking through my notes here to just give you some of the statistics specifically in relation to Ceduna. In 2013-14, presentations to the hospital emergency department due to alcohol or drug use exceeded 500, and that's more than one presentation per day. The local sobering up facility had 4,667 admissions that same year, from a regional population of 4,425. And I'll just share with you a quote I cited a little earlier from the Ceduna Community Heads Group, which is a key leadership group in Ceduna, who've endorsed the concept of the trial, and what they said, and I quote, is, "We want to build a future for our younger generation to aspire to, and believe we cannot do this if our families are caught up in the destructive cycle of alcohol or drugs that destroys our culture, our lands and our communities. At the heart of this reform is a change that is being shaped specifically to meet our local needs. It has been a true collaboration to ensure that we can give our mob and our communities every chance to create real and genuine change in their lives. We have grasped this initiative, we have helped shape this initiative, and we are confident that this initiative is for the betterment of all people in our region." You're right, Senator Muir, that the area has been chosen because of some particular issues, and it's the level of alcohol abuse, the level of hospital admissions, its recognition of gambling also being a factor that harms families, and also illegal drug use, and that's part of the rationale for having a defined component of someone's payment that can only be accessed through the card, is to limit the amount of money that could be used on illicit drugs or gambling or alcohol. And the purpose of the evaluation, which will be put in place, is to see to what extent some of these really bad statistics are improved through the trial of the card. And I emphasise it is a trial. There will be evaluation, and that we do want to learn from the trial.
Senator Muir.
Thank you. I do understand that the purpose of the trial and the reason it's being debated now is to help, or at least attempt to help certain factors like you just discussed. I suppose the question I was really asking in all that was, will the data be used to, considering this is a low socio-economic area that has these issues at hand, will the data then be used to predict success into the future, and for the policy to be made broader into the community.
Minister.
Thanks, Chair. The intention at the moment is that it would be something that was targeted in areas where there were high rates of harm. It's not necessarily tied to socio-economic, because there can be some low socio-economic areas where you don't have these statistics. So it's not that a low socio-economic area has been chosen as such. It's the rates of harm that are present that is really what has determined the one community at this stage the trial is aimed at. So it's not something that seeks to characterise low socio-economic communities. It's something that recognises that there are some communities that have higher incidents of harm, and we're seeing if through this mechanism we can reduce that. But I'm advised that the intention is that this would always be something that was targeted to the areas, if you like, of greatest need, where there are some of these really appalling statistics.
Senator Muir.
Thank you, Chair. In the areas that have been chosen for the trial to be unravelled, I understand the Ceduna area was speaking to 500 hospitalisations, the Sober Up program 4,667 people. Does it capture others who are currently doing the right thing? Is the trial going to pick up other people who are not repeat offenders in these hospitalisations or the Sober Up program?
Minister.
The trial will cover anyone in receipt of a working age payment. So it is something, you're right, that applies across the board. There is a mechanism, or there will be a mechanism in the trial for people who wish to have access to more than 20% of their payment in cash. There'll be local bodies that people can put that to, but you are right that this will apply to anyone on a working age payment.
Senator Muir.
Thank you, Chair. Thank you for that answer, Minister. Going back a little bit to how my concerns, or the cynic in me, my concerns about the data being used to sorry, Senator Xenophon, I am about the data potentially being used to roll out this further into other communities. Will the government commit to a process in the future where communities can choose to opt in or out on a community by community basis in the event that the government does decide to use the data collected after this trial to roll out the policy further?
Minister.
Thanks, Chair. I guess one thing we don't want to do is to preempt the outcome of the trials. We take the evaluation seriously, so we will want to have the trial, look at the evaluation, see if it's a success, and if it is, then at that point we'd make a determination as to whether to seek to expand it to other communities. But our approach with this trial and possibly with another two is to work with local communities, to be consultative, to see if there's a willingness, as there is in Ceduna. Where in Ceduna there's a really strong desire for this to be in place, but we take the evaluation seriously, and I wouldn't want to prejudge that evaluation or any decisions that we might take after that.
Senator Muir.
Thank you, Chair. So Thank you, Minister, as well. You didn't rule. You most definitely didn't rule out extending the trial further. Will there? I suppose I'm trying to seek some kind of commitment that these trials wouldn't supply data that would then encourage policy to put this type of trials into legislation, which goes far beyond communities who have even asked for it.
Minister.
Thanks, Senator. I guess you can take some comfort from the fact that this legislation only authorises 3 trials and a maximum of 10,000 people. So if the government was wanting to do something in addition to that, it could only be with the approval of this chamber. We'd have to introduce fresh legislation.
Senator Muir.
Thank you, Chair. I've nearly finished now. I think I've got enough on that for the time being. So, wraparound services. Will wraparound services be offered on a voluntary or referral basis? So, drug counselling, financial counselling, domestic violence counselling, and so on.
Minister.
The approach in Ceduna, Senator Muir, has been we've worked with the local community to work on what those local wraparound services should be. We've made some funding available for that, and if we went ahead with a further 2 trial sites, we'd be taking the same approach there to work out with the local community what are the wraparound services that were needed for the particular circumstances of that community.
Senator Muir.
I might come back a little bit later after a few of my other colleagues had questions and go further with that. But one final question. Alan Tudge's report does not appear to cover the concerns of FPOS fees for minimum spends in retail outlets. Has the government taken this into consideration?
Minister.
Thanks, Chair. Thanks, Senator Muir. The trial is already working with the local Ceduna Traders Association in an effort to work towards there not being those minimum spend requirements.
Senator Muir.
So just to clarify, at this stage, even though we're about to vote on the bill, or very likely to vote on the bill, it still hasn't been completely sorted.
Minister.
The local arrangements can't be finally nailed down, really, I guess, until we have legislation. But discussions have occurred, and that's the intention to address the issue you raised.